It seems the Chicago Sky have had to move 2 of their home games to a larger facility, a larger basketball facility.
Did you observe the recent occurrence, Angel? Reese is exceedingly upset over the announcement made by the Chicago Sky. They're moving only Caitlinclark's games to the United Center while Reese's games stay put. She's out here screaming, "They watch for me too." However, the statistics present an entirely divergent narrative.
I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Let us deconstruct this fallacy and demonstrate its lack of coherence. Caitlinclark's games averaged almost 17,000 spectators last season, whereas Reese's games just reached 9,000. It is not alone Chicago. Teams throughout the WNBA are hastily securing larger venues exclusively for Clark's appearances. This situation is not a matter of favoritism. It pertains to financial gain. We are poised to elucidate why Reese is engaged in an unwinnable struggle.
I'm sure, no doubt, this is the Angel Reese effect. I've got no doubts, no qualms. There's nothing. She even told me herself right here that it's not just one other player, it's because of her too.
Angel Reese is incensed following the Chicago Sky's decision, which has prompted her to reevaluate her worth to the team. The Sky recently issued a shocking announcement that has left their star rookie feeling thoroughly disrespected. The team is relocating only 2 games next season to the expansive United Center, specifically the matches against Caitlinclark and the Indiana Fever.
What I do realize is that as of right now, no other Chicago Sky game have been moved to the United Center, except for one, Indiana Fever.
Angel Reese was unable to contain her frustration and is evidently disturbed by what this decision implies regarding her star power. The same Angel who remarked, "They watch for me too," now observes in disbelief as her team's actions resonate far more profoundly than her words. Currently, the message from her own team is unmistakably clear, and it is painful.
America's team versus a team who has the person who is the scourge of society. Oh, God. Oh, man.
This venue upgrade isn't simply a tiny tweak. We're talking about a massive capacity difference. The United Center can pack in over 21,000 screaming fans, which more than doubles what their regular home at Windrust Arena can hold with its 10,000-seat maximum. That's not just a few extra tickets. It's an entirely different atmosphere and statement about who the Sky believe can fill those extra 11,000 seats.
In case you're wondering what the difference is right here, that Windrust Arena, 10,000 seats for basketball, 20,917 at the United Center for basketball.
Particularly telling is that not a single game featuring Reese last season was considered worthy of this special treatment. Not one despite all her social media followers, despite all the attention she brought to the league, despite her being one of the most talked about rookies alongside Clark. 0 venue upgrades. The contrast couldn't be more striking, and Angel plainly feels it.
They have Angel. Shouldn't all their games be played at the United Center? Question mark. No, I mean, that's inquiring minds want to know. That's a legitimate question.
Now let's speak about how the Sky tried to twist this team. President Adam Fox attempted to frame this whole situation as simply rewarding fan passion, but that explanation falls completely flat when you look at the facts. If this were truly about celebrating fan enthusiasm in general, wouldn't they upgrade venues for more than just the 2 games featuring Clark? The selective nature of these upgrades tells the real story.
This is the first time that the Chicago Sky will be playing at the United Center. And so that should be cool, right? And it's the 2 times that the Chicago Sky are playing the Indiana Fever at home. The Chicago Sky are playing the Fever 5 times this year, and 3 of those times is in Indiana, 2 of those times is in Chicago.
This isn't some random scheduling quirk or coincidence. This is the Chicago Sky making a business calculation right in front of everyone's eyes and right in front of their own star player. It's an unfiltered statement about who they believe is the true box office draw in women's basketball right now.
As a person who wants the game to grow, as someone who wants the Chicago Sky to make as much money as possible, as someone who wants to see big numbers at a WNBA game, I think this is great. I love it.
And here's where the data get really interesting. Moving those Clark games to the United Center isn't just about prestige or optics. It's projected to bring in an additional $4 million in revenue compared to keeping them at Winrust Arena. That's the kind of financial impact that makes executives take notice and makes business decisions crystal clear. When there's that much money on the line, sentiments and feelings take a back seat.
As someone who loves the game of basketball, as someone who is a supporter of the Sky and wants everybody to make as much money as possible, I love this.
When business decisions of this magnitude are made, they're not based on feelings or Twitter followers. They're based on cold, hard data. And that $4 million venue shift we just talked about, that's just the tip of the financial iceberg when you see what CaitlinClark is doing to attendance numbers across the league.
Last year, the Indiana Fever were in Chicago, and a lot of us were asking, why aren't they putting this in the big arena? Are they really that stubborn that they're ready to just turn away dollars just for a narrative?
Let's put it plainly, Clark isn't just bringing in more fans, she's rewriting the entire WNBA attendance playbook. The Indiana Fever didn't just edge past previous attendance records with Clark leading the charge. They absolutely demolished them, shattering the previous WNBA single-season attendance record by a jaw-dropping 36%. Think about it, a rookie comes in and promptly breaks a record that had been standing steady since 2001.
Seems as if they got their end-of-their-year report, looked at the bottom line and said, you know what? Slam shut. In 2025, we're gonna be in the United Center. Maybe some of the owners were started talking behind the scenes, right?
You want to know how dominant Clark's pulling power actually is? The Fever managed to cram over 20,000 fans into arenas 3 separate times during her rookie season. This playoff-level attendance during regular season games. When's the last time you seen that kind of draw from a first-year player in any sport?
Not even just the ticket sales, merchandise sales, concession stands, parking. Dude, they are racking in money from every area when CaitlinClark comes to town. So, of course, the Chicago Sky, oh, fine. I guess I'll milk that well until it's dry. Remember CaitlinClark?
Meanwhile, Angel maintains, arguing she deserves equal status, but the attendance stats paint a grim narrative. Clark's games usually average nearly 17,000 fans showing up, while Reese's games struggled to touch even the 9,000 mark. That's not a tiny gap we're talking about. Clark consistently drawing double the audience. At the end of the day, folks, in case we're all not aware, the owners, they might be talking a lot of hot shit, but they're capitalists at the end of the day. They want to make their bread at the end of the day. And here's where the story becomes even more interesting. The Chicago Sky, biggest crowd ever. It wasn't during any of Angels' games last season. It wasn't even recent. Their attendance record was set back in 2016 when they attracted in over 16,000 spectators a time, when Reese was still in high school, nowhere near the professional ranks.
The United Center, like I said, 21,000 capacity, 23,000 for concerts, 21,000 for capacity. Oh, we're going into the big boy arena and leaving the Wintrust Arena.
The market doesn't lie either. When Clark and Reese faced off head-to-head last season, ticket prices went absolutely bonkers, shooting into the thousands as fans scrambled to see both rookies on the same court. But what about when Reese played without Clark? In the building, those tickets barely moved above face value, like the crowd equivalent of a shoulder shrug.
1,387 people. What's that trend going along? Do you want to take this dollar bill or do you want to double it and hand it to the next? Do you want to take this CaitlinClark attendance record or do you want to double it into the next year? Oh, you want to double it into the next year? Oh, say no more.
These aren't just random fluctuations or coincidences. This is the invisible hand of the market, sending a crystal obvious message about who's actually driving this increased WNBA popularity. The math simply doesn't lie. Clark isn't just slightly more popular or marginally more fascinating to fans. She's in an entirely different galaxy when it comes to putting people in seats.
We will double it into the next year, and this is going to be the first game ever, first WNBA game ever to be played at the United Center. I don't know why it's the first game ever, because the WNBA has had so many stars over the last 15 to 20 years.
This isn't about who has more Instagram followers or who receives more media coverage. This is about the fundamental economics of professional sports teams make venue decisions based on predicted attendance, and the numbers show that Clark's presence guarantees packed crowds while Reese's well doesn't.
That's right. They don't sell out their home games with Angel Reese. Have I said that before? I have. They don't sell out their home games with Angel Reese. I think they averaged around 9,000 fans last year per game.
This is not an isolated Chicago phenomenon. We're watching a full-scale financial revolution sweeping across the entire WNBA. Knapp thought the Sky decision was just one team making a business call. Look again, what we're seeing is a trend so clear that even the most casual fan can't miss it. 5 distinct franchises have already made the exact same move, creating what amounts to a 2-tier game system. Caitlinclark games in massive NBA venues and everyone else's games in regular WNBA facilities.
You got the Atlanta Dream owner talking to the Minnesota Lynx owner, talking to the Seattle Storm owner, talking to the... Guys, I'm telling you, when Caitlinclark comes to town, put it in the big arena because she is box office and it is going to be big money.
Let me paint you a picture of what's going right now. The Washington Mystics didn't just shift their schedule around, they packed up their entire operation and moved their Fever matchup all the way to Baltimore's CFG Bank Arena. We're talking about a venue that holds nearly 15,000 screaming fans. That's not a minor adjustment. It's a massive upgrade specifically designed to capitalize on the Clark.
The scheduling is very interesting. There is a little reaction on that already. But let's take a look at this right here. 6 WNBA teams that move games versus Caitlinclark in the Fever to larger venues. I did the Dallas Wings, and I did the Atlanta Dream, and I did the Chicago Sky.
And they're not alone. Have you heard what the Connecticut Sun just did? They abandoned their regular home court completely for their game versus the Fever, setting up shop instead on the legendary park floor of TD Garden, home of the Boston Celtics. This isn't simply a venue renovation. It's virtually doubling their capacity for a single game, one player, one game, quadruple the seats.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center. Home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks in Atlanta, by the way, that's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden, home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
What makes the situation even more fascinating is the hard business calculus underpinning these decisions. These aren't impulsive choices made on a whim. WNBA clubs have operated on razor-thin profit margins for years, sometimes even losing money season after season. Every ticket sale matters, every concession buy counts. So when teams make these kinds of drastic venue shifts, they're telling exactly where they believe the money is.
We're now at the stage where Caitlinclark is probably going to be responsible, I'm not joking when I say this, for games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
And where is that money following Caitlinclark like a shadow? According to lead data, Clark single-handedly generated over a quarter of the entire WNBA's revenue. Last year, one rookie responsible for 25% of an entire professional sports league's income. She's not just popular, she's a one-woman economic stimulus package for women's basketball.
There are teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlinclark shows up to town with the Fever.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese continues building her brand through social media, claiming co-ownership of the WNBA's newfound attention. But the venue ledger tells a different story. How many teams have moved their games to larger arenas specifically for an Angel Reese appearance? The answer is 0. Not a single franchise has deemed it financially worthwhile to upgrade venues when Reese comes to town without Clark on the opposing bench.
The Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah.
What we're witnessing is unprecedented in women's sports, a situation where one rookie has so dramatically altered the economic landscape that teams are scrambling to capitalize on her limited appearances. They're abandoning decades-old venue arrangements, forming new business partnerships, and completely restructuring their ticket strategies around 2 games for the season. 2 times they host Caitlinclark's Indiana Fever.
Again, as of right now, to my knowledge, what I've seen, no other Angel Reese games have been moved due due to potential attendance for said game. I mean, I'm just pointing that out. I'm not sure if you're allowed to.
Let's be genuine for a second. The brutal truth Angel Reese needs to face isn't about favoritism or unfair treatment. It's about impact. Basketball experts are now openly suggesting that instead of making these constant comparisons to Caitlinclark, Reese should focus on elevating her own game, not just her stats, but her ability to draw crowds, generate excitement, and yes, sell tickets.
I am going to be very interested to see what the ticket prices on these two games end up getting to, because they were very large for last year's matchups. And it should also be noted while we're talking about it, remember the Washington Mystics also moved 2 of their games yesterday too. I wonder if those were Angel Reese games. Oh, they weren't.
This isn't personal, it's just business. The WNBA isn't some charity organization. It's a professional sports league that needs to survive financially. Teams are making decisions based on what keeps the lights on, not on who feels entitled to special treatments. So where does Angel go from here? She can keep posting about being disrespected, or she can channel that frustration into becoming the kind of player that forces teams to upgrade venues for her games too. The blueprint is right in front of her. Will she follow it, or keep fighting a battle that the box office numbers have already decided?